What's up, y'all? My name is Nia Ashe Doriso, and I am the Purpose Student Doula. First of all, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this first episode of this YouTube channel. Here, I will be documenting my journey toward becoming a certified full spectrum doula, and I'll also be sharing my journey even post-certifying, just giving y'all insight as to what life is like as a full spectrum doula and being in this reproductive justice and birth equity fight. Alongside that, I definitely aim to inform y'all on the various things that I learned throughout my journey of certifying and even post-certification, because even after I get my certification, my intention is to always remain a student, always being open to learning, especially when it comes to reproductive health, women's health, and just the whole entire reproductive journey. Pregnancy, birth, it's all different. It all varies from person to person, but we're not gonna get too far into that. We're gonna first back it all the way up, all the way up to when I knew that I wanted to be in the maternal support world. So if we take a trip down to memory lane, all the way back to my preschool graduation, that infamous question was asked as far as what it is that I want to be when I grow up. And according to my mother, I proudly proclaimed that I wanted to be a pediatrician. And of course, being at the age of 4 and 5, I won't even say that we may not know what it is that we want to do, because honestly, the things that we're introduced to throughout our childhood can very much pave the way for what we do as adults. So I'm not gonna dim the light of little Nia. We're gonna continue to root her on as we go through this journey, because since that day, I made it part of my mission to align with what it was that I thought would be best for me, and more so where it is that I thought God would have for me to be. So after my preschool graduation, going throughout elementary, middle school, I came to discover quite a few things about myself. One of which being that I love supporting people. In my middle school years, when my friends were off doing advanced chorus and things of that sort, I chose the route of being a teacher's assistant. And even fast forwarding to high school, where I wound up being my yearbook's editor-in-chief, even though it was a leadership role, I was still working alongside the teacher who covered that program, which means that I essentially had to be of assistance and of service to her and essentially the entire student body. Now, that same 8th grade year when I decided to be a teacher's assistant, I had also decided to apply for a medical magnet program. Because again, going back to pre-K, I said I wanted to be a pediatrician, and we had to do whatever it is that needed to be done to make sure that happened, okay? Shout out to my family for raising me to be a very headstrong individual. I applied for that magnet program, and by the grace of God, I got in. And because of that, I was introduced to a 4-year experience, which gave me insight into what it is like in the medical industry, what it's like being a healthcare professional in America. We learned a variety of things, from medical terminologies that are common in the medical world to even fast forwarding to our senior year, where we got to participate in clinicals. And that was pretty much a fancy way of saying that we got to shadow healthcare professionals in their respective fields. Of course, as we see on shows like Grey's Anatomy, the ped spot is for sure coveted, okay? And although I did not receive that spot, what I did receive was an opportunity to be introduced to the world of pediatric nursing. Because at some point during those 4 years, we had a career fair, and that's where I learned that pediatricians don't just take care of babies, okay? They take care of kids from the ages of 0 to 18. And because I knew that I not only wanted to support people, but that I also wanted to work with babies exclusively, I decided to pivot to becoming a pediatric nurse. Once my high school years finished and I ventured off to the University of Florida for my freshman year of college, the route to becoming a pediatric nurse was still very much on the forefront of my mind. Until the summer of 2013. For those that are from the Central Florida area, and even if you're not, everyone knows about the infamous murder trial of Trayvon Martin. And it was in the summer of 2013 where the not guilty verdict was given for George Zimmerman. And for me, not only was I deeply hurt and very much upset, I, for the first time in my life, was really woken up to the truths as far as the disparities that people of color face in this country. On top of that, during my elementary school years, my mother had experienced a stillbirth. Later finding out that was due to medical negligence, those two events coupled together was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it eventually led to my internal riot and protest against all American systems, especially medical. Now, even though I wanted nothing to do with the traditional American medical system, I knew that I still wanted to work with children in some way, shape, or form, which then led to a numerous amount of years of various jobs that were pretty adjacent to what my end goal was, but it still didn't quite hit it on the head. I had jobs that ranged from being an academic tutor to even being a summer camp counselor for middle and high school students. Even the Boys and Girls Club, which that experience I feel like was the closest that I got to working with my target demographic. But of course, it still, again, didn't hit it on the head. In the midst of all these jobs that I was working, the thought of working with babies and children was starting to sift to the back of my mind until the year 2016. In 2016, I came across my first doula, and in that interaction, I was introduced to the world of birth work. The doula that I had met at that time, I believe, was primarily a birth doula, and so in meeting her, being a birth doula was something that I seriously wanted to consider. Fast forward to 2022, I had met my second doula, and with this time, it started to get a little closer to home because this doula turned out to be my cousin. And still similar as far as supporting birthers during their pregnancy and birth period. But this doula, she also ventured into the postpartum world as well, supporting birthers after they've given birth to make sure that they have the physical and emotional support that's needed during such a delicate time. In 2023, when I met my third and final birth worker, that's where I learned that there's more doulas than just birth doulas. I learned that there's, of course, postpartum doulas, there's fertility doulas, there's even sex doulas. And in that workshop, it was 1,000% confirmed that this isn't just what I want to do. This line of work is what I'm called to do. Now, once I had met my second doula, I took it upon myself to start making some baby steps. My original journey into becoming a certified doula started with the Madriela Doula Network. And while I was super excited to begin it, I noticed that the format of this specific program didn't quite work for me. Even though at this point in time, I'd flunked out of school and things of that sort, I was still a student at heart. I still craved an environment where I got to learn. And unfortunately, on top of other life things that were going on, I wasn't able to complete that certification. Now, even though I didn't finish my initial certification program, fast forward to the year 2025, I came across Mia. And this interaction came at literally the most perfect time because I was in the process of getting ready to prepare to take a weekend training further down this year. And when I came across Mia, it was through a doula that I followed on Instagram. And this respective doula, she posted about a scholarship opportunity. The scholarship that she posted was one that was named after her, yet it was attached to Mia. And so in following the breadcrumbs, I came across the world of Mia and absolutely fell in love, okay? My next video, I'll talk more about my certification process with them. But once I did my research and I saw the scholarship opportunities that were available, at this point, we had entered our 30, flirty, and thriving era. And in this era, I set the intention that no matter what, I was going to become a full spectrum doula. And unbeknownst to me, the scholarship that I was applying for, it was for their maternal support practitioner program, which is their version of a full spectrum doula training and certification program. So I did the application for the scholarship, poured my little heart out, over those keys. Knew that no matter what happened, whether I got the scholarship or not, that I would still be pursuant of this journey to becoming a full spectrum doula. However, by the grace of God, your girl was awarded a 70% scholarship, okay? That moment there, I don't even have the words to explain what that moment did for me. But if I had to give some words, it definitely affirmed my purpose. It definitely affirmed my calling. And it affirmed the fact that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Over the course of my 20s, I did a lot of soul searching, even though those soul searching years were preceded by a lot of running away from doing the work. In doing that work, finally choosing to surrender to God, I was able to really connect with myself on a deeper and a more intrinsic level. Really just being able to see myself worthy of all the things that I desire, all the things that are in my heart, especially those things that are in accordance to the will that God has for me. And so by receiving that scholarship from Babel Mia, it confirmed everything that I needed as far as doing what I needed to do over this next decade and becoming a well-rounded full spectrum doula. In wrapping up this video, I just want to emphasize the importance of doing what it is that you loved as a child. Like, y'all, when I tell y'all, I have always loved supporting people, pouring into others, really assisting them with seeing themselves the way that God sees them. I really mean that. I've always loved working with children. Like, Nia love the kids and the kids love Nia, okay? Especially the babies. And so the fact that there is a career field out here for me that fits all those requirements and really allows for me to just lean into my skill sets and really just merge all of my experiences into something that can be uplifting and beneficial for those that I choose to work with. It's literally top tier, and I thank not only myself, but above all else, I thank God just for presenting this opportunity for me to become a full spectrum doula, for assisting me in putting together this intricate puzzle that is my life. I thank God for just clearing the way for me to receive this certification, and I thank y'all for tuning into this first video. In my next video, I will be going into detail as far as what my journey and my experience was like with Babel Mia. We're gonna get all into what the training program was like, what certifying has been like so far, and might touch a little bit on what's next for me after certifying. But until then, my name is Nia Ashe, aka the Purpose Student Doula. I'll chat with y'all next time. Peace.